This is Newsroom on SABC News. Hello and welcome from Johannesburg in South Africa. My name is Eben Jansen. The show, of course, live every weekday between 9 and 10 a.m. with highlights rebroadcast at 2 in the afternoon and then a complete rebroadcast at 5 a.m. the following morning. We also stream live on YouTube between 9 and 10 a.m. every day with our whole show available on our YouTube channel. Now, the state has wrapped up its case against Oscar Pistorius. Today, we'll look at what that case really is. He's also expected to take to the stand a little bit later this week. Then we look at a unique education program that's being rolled out here in South Africa. And football meets fashion later in our show. But first, let's take a look at the news headlines. Oscar Pistorius will take to the stand in his trial. His defense team confirmed this as the state closed its case yesterday against a Paralympic athlete after 15 days in court. Prosecutor Gerrie Nel led evidence this week about intimate text messages the Paralympian exchanged with Reeva Steenkamp that attested to strife in the relationship before he shot her on Valentine's Day last year. Defense advocate Barry Roo is expected to call defense witnesses on Friday after a two-day adjournment. The trial is set to conclude on May the 16th. President Jacob Zuma and his Rwandan counterpart Paul Kagame have agreed on direct talks to try and resolve the ongoing diplomatic row between the two countries. Relations are at an all-time low after South Africa expelled 4 Rwandan diplomats and Rwanda responded by sending 6 South African diplomats home. The simmering tensions were discussed at the Great Lakes Region Security Summit that took place in Luanda, Angola. And Sports Minister Fikile Mbalula issued a stern warning to sporting structures who do not comply with transformation requirements. Mbalula received the first transformation status report from the Eminent Persons Group in Johannesburg. The EPG was appointed to assist Mbalula in monitoring and evaluating the current transformation process in sport. The report deals with the status of 5 sporting codes, namely football, rugby, cricket, athletics and netball. Oscar Pistorius will take the stand in his trial. His defense team has confirmed this as the state closed its case against the Paralympic athletes after 15 days in court. Court proceedings have been adjourned until Friday, the 28th of March at 9:30 a.m. Prosecutor Gerrie Nel closed the state's case yesterday after leading evidence this week about intimate text messages the Paralympian exchanged with Reeva Steenkamp that attested to some strife in the relationship before he shot her on Valentine's Day last year. Now, from our Pretoria studio, we are joined by SABC reporter Manqoba Mchunu. Good morning.
Good morning, Eben. How are you?
Thank you. Before we look back at the state's case, really, just recap for us yesterday what was the final moments of the state's case, really.
Well, yesterday, Eben, we saw the defense coming back to defend Oscar Pistorius' relationship with Reeva Steenkamp. You will remember that the state a day before had painted a picture of a relationship that has been fractured, painting a picture of really Oscar being a violent person who's a jealous a lover, as well as who's prone to violent outbursts over his girlfriend, Reeva Steenkamp. And we saw the state really showing Reeva's emotions and Reeva's really sense of fear from Reeva Steenkamp when it comes to Oscar Pistorius. She said in a WhatsApp message that at times she feared Oscar Pistorius and that she was really sad and not happy in the relationship. But then we saw the defense yesterday coming back to defend this, saying, painting a picture really of a loving couple that had fights from time to time, but would also then after that be able to come back together and talk about those issues. So we saw the state showing more than several WhatsApp messages that show the affection and love between the couple. We saw them referring to these messages, which they say are over 1,000, and asking really why Francois Muller had chosen only 4 of those SMSs to show that they had problems in the relationship. They say that the thousands prove and really show that the couple was happy and that they were just annoyed normal couple. So they really painted a picture of that couple that was happy in their relationship, and also drew other evidence, including this video that is currently being shown on air, where River Steenkamp and Oscar Pistorius are on a shop and really going together at the shop to buy, and we can see the affection between them. It really shows a couple that is in love. So they're using this also as a base to say the couple was just a normal couple, a loving couple. They had their problems, but it didn't mean that Oscar Pistorius had the intention to kill River Steenkamp.
Now, Manqoba, after 15 days, the state has concluded its case. Can you just recap on the high and the low points for us of the case until now?
Well, Eben, what we've basically seen is the state presenting its case. We'll know that the state says Oscar Pistorius shot and killed River Steenkamp intentionally. You know that he has claimed that he thought she was an intruder, but the state is saying no. Oscar Pistorius did kill River Steenkamp. He had planned to kill River Steenkamp, and he did this intentionally on that morning of Valentine's Day. So what we did see really in the state's case is them trying to show Oscar Pistorius' intention, and we saw this by them really calling on neighbors who testified about the screams and the shouts that they heard. Another neighbor also testified about hearing an argument on that morning, which shows that there might have been a fight before Oscar Pistorius shot and killed River Steenkamp. We also heard about Oscar Pistorius' character to show that he was a person who loved guns, a person who was reckless with guns, and a person who really disregarded the law. It showed in his evidence there when his gun dealer, Sean Rains, took the stand, showing that Oscar Pistorius really knew the gun laws of this country, but chose to disregard most of them in incidents where Tasha's where he shot or accidentally discharged a firearm at a restaurant, where he shot over an open sunroof of a car. All of these incidents showing that he was reckless and really disregarded the laws of the country when it comes to firearms. Also, we saw the evidence of Chris Mangena, experts like Chris Mangena, showing that when River Steenkamp was shot, she was cowering, she was hiding, protecting herself, which is why one of the bullets even hit her on the fingers, which shows really that Oscar Pistorius knew that she was inside the toilet, and that when he shot, he knew that River Steenkamp was inside the toilet. So basically, we've seen them trying to show the motive obviously being Oscar's character, showing him as a jealous lover, a possessive lover who's prone to violent outbursts. We heard from Samantha Taylor as well, the testimony of how Oscar Pistorius treated her during their relationship, the fact that they always had spats, and that when you emotionally abuse her as well. So all of these coming back to show that Oscar Pistorius really was not the person that people think he was. He was not this golden boy that everybody thinks, but somebody who was prone to violence and somebody with a very short temper, which then gives the state motive of why he could have killed River Steenkamp.
Now, Manqoba, just tell us, how do we see the case proceed now? We understand it reconvenes on Friday, but what do we expect for the next week or so?
Well, Eben, certainly the defense now is going to have to present its case, and we know what the defense is saying. Basically, the defense is saying that Oscar Pistorius on that night woke up at 3 a.m. to a noise, and because the bathroom window was open, fearing that it could be an intruder in pitch darkness, he then went and took his gun and fired 4 shots at the bathroom door. And we know that he had said that before, that he was not wearing his prosthetics legs at that time, and we have seen this testimony also being also concurred to by the state's witnesses, who said that Oscar Pistorius was indeed not wearing his stump. So this is not a dispute at the moment between the state and the defense. In fact, it goes to an advantage of some sort to the state's, to the defense's case, which had claimed that he was on his stumps when he shot River Steenkamp. So we're going to see them put on a fight to try and really show that Oscar Pistorius did not do this intentionally, that he made a serious mistake, a fatal mistake on that day of Valentine's Day. And we are expecting them obviously to pull their guns. They have their own team of experts they're going to call onto the stand, including ballistic experts Tom Vomerans, who has over 34 years experience in ballistics industry. We know that he's done over 15,000 investigations and also testified in more than 800 cases. They also have Dr. Reggie Perumal on their list of experts, who's a pathologist or a private pathologist. We know that he conducted, or he was present when River Steenkamp's post-mortem was done by the state. state. So he will testify as well as to the injuries that River Steenkamp sustained, and mostly on the aspect of the empty bladder, which we have heard that was one of the things that was found at postmortem, which the defense is hoping to prove that Oscar Pistorius, River Steenkamp did go to the toilet to relieve herself. Well, we'll also see some experts coming from or a company from America which is known as Evidence Room. They are going to recreate the crime scene in terms of animated picture to show really what Oscar Pistorius claimed happened on that night. So they are having their own team of experts that are going to obviously dispute arguments that have been brought forward by the state.
Thank you very much for that insight this morning. Mangoba Nkunu coming to you live from Pretoria, giving us his views on the how the Oscar Pistorius trial will proceed over the next couple of days and weeks. Of course, just to recap, Oscar Pistorius will take to the stand in his trial. His defense team has confirmed this as the state closed its case against the Paralympic athlete after 15 days in court. Prosecutor Gerrinel closed the state's case yesterday after leading evidence this week about intimate text messages the Paralympian exchanged with River Steenkamp that attested to strife in their relationship before he shot her on Valentine's Day last year.
A couple in love. That's the picture now being painted of Pistorius and his girlfriend, River Steenkamp. Affectionate messages that the defense is using as ammunition.
There will be a number of WhatsApp messages where they use this name, Boo, and Baby, and Baba,
that's
with
correct.
kisses.
That's correct, my lady.
Then, more evidence, this time in a grocery store. Proof of their love. For Pistorius, seemingly unbearable to watch. Equally so for Riva's mother. Then 2 days before he killed her, more love messages.
I'm missing her today. She makes my heart happy.
That's from Mr. Pistorius to Riva.
That's correct.
And the response?
Her response was, you make her everything happy.
Mola also told the court of Pistorius's calls hours before he killed Steenkamp. It emerged the Paralympian may have surfed an internet site at 1:48, just over an hour before he shot his girlfriend, contradicting his claims that they went to bed around 10 p.m. But Mola says these could also be unclosed websites that continue to update.
Emails coming in.
Emails coming in, emails going out.
Or a website that was left open.
That's correct, my lady.
Browsing history. So it does not mean that it is human interaction at that moment.
That's correct. From this detailed billing records, one can't specify the human intervention there.
Then calls Pistorius made shortly after the shooting came under scrutiny. First to estate manager Johan Stander at 3:19, then an ambulance, then to security, a call to his friend Justin Devaris, his brother Carl Pistorius a minute after 4 a.m, and then 3 calls to his manager. Proof that it was Pistorius who called security first. This contradicts earlier testimony by a security guard, Peter Baba. Then Colonel Johan Vermeulen returned to the stand to examine another mark on Pistorius' door. The defense claims it's more evidence to prove that the athlete was on his prosthetic legs when he hit the door. But the forensic expert is still sticking to his guns.
I looked at the marks and none of them, I could relate none of them to the cricket bat. I did not say that I tried to physically fit the cricket bat to the other marks.
And with this, the state wrapped its case. Pistorius' lawyers are expected to present their case on Friday. They say it's highly unlikely that the Blade Runner will not be called to take the stand.
A large arsenal of firearms and other weapons went up in smoke yesterday. Gauteng police destroyed them in a bid to bring down crime levels in the province.
5,000 illegal firearms, over 50,000 other weapons. Much of it probably contributing to Gauteng's spiraling crime rate. The province ranks third in the country with 31.3% of all murders committed here.
Some of these firearms has been confiscated during normal day-to-day operations by the police. So the impact of the confiscation is very much enormous. One firearm removed, it means that we have saved a lot of lives.
76% of the weapons are confiscated from suspects, the rest handed in voluntarily. Security is tight. They're bagged and tagged, then loaded into a burning furnace. 20 minutes later, reduced to a smoldering pile of metal.
Pistols, revolvers, rifles, and shotguns. These are just some of the type of guns that were confiscated by police in the past 6 months. Many of them used in dangerous and violent crimes, melted here at the country's biggest metal refinery. Nozintombi Mia, SABC News, Vereniging.
Final arguments in the triple murder Griquastad farm murder case started yesterday in the Northern Cape High Court. 17-year-old youth is accused of shooting dead farmer Dion Steenkamp, who is 44, his 43-year-old wife Christel, and their daughter Martella, who was 14 on the 6th of April 2012. He faces an additional charge of raping Martella and of lying to the police. Now, from Kimberley, we are joined by Puleng Modupi this morning. Good morning, Puleng.
Good morning, Eben.
Puleng, just recap the Griquastad murder case for us and the latest developments.
Well, the incident took place in 2012 in which a farmer, Dion Steenkamp, his wife, and his daughter, Marthella, the 14-year daughter, Marthella, were shot dead at their farm, Nahook. It is alleged that the suspect took firearms out of the safe and first he shot Marthella, then he shot the farmer and his wife. And it is also alleged that Marthella was also sexually assaulted. So the suspect was arrested in May, and he was charged. He formally now became the suspect in May. And in the case went on for 2 years, and in December last year, the accused fired his legal team, and he's appointed a new legal team to represent him, and as such, the case was postponed to this year. In court, it appeared that in the final arguments, the defense team explained that the accused couldn't have committed the crime, as the accused there was no way that he could have manhandled, been able to manhandle the farmer, since the farmer is physically well built, and the accused is tiny and he's still a boy. And the defense argued that there's also no way that the state can prove that Marthella, the 14-year daughter, was raped. And then also it also emerged that it could have been maybe another foreign object could have been inserted in the private parts of the 14-year daughter. The state, the defense argued their case, and the state was also given the chance to argue their case soon after the defense. And the state went on to explain that the accused gained entry in the house because he lived in the house, and there was also no dogs barking, and that shows that the dogs knew the accused, and then also that the accused knew exactly where the safe was, and the safe was open. So it is both the state and the defense concluded their arguments yesterday, and a judgment is expected to be made tomorrow.
What has been the reaction, Puleng, of the community in and around Kimberley with regards to this case? And it's been going on for so long. People must be relieved that finally it's coming to a head.
Well, a lot of people were shocked. In fact, even here in Kimberley, including Griquastad, the whole community members were shocked. And then at first it was assumed that it was a farm attack. There was an intruder who gained entry into the house and shot the whole family. But then as soon as it came out that the 14-year accused is the suspect, a lot of people were shocked, and they couldn't clearly quite believe that such a young boy could have committed the deed.
Puleng, thank you very much for putting us in the picture. That is Puleng Modupe coming to you from Kimberley. Of course, final arguments in the triple murder Griquastad. That's the farm murder case there. Well, started yesterday, will conclude on Friday, and it's being heard in the Northern Cape High Court at the moment. Let's take a quick look at what you're talking about on social media. Of course, you can send your views to at SABC Newsroom. That's Twitter. Tajalo says, Oscar Pistorius' case is starting to get interesting. Can't miss the Friday session. That's right. If Oscar Pistorius takes to the stand on Friday, it'll certainly be a world event. His Royal Softness says if Oscar Pistorius walks away from this charge, it will be because of SAPS incompetency, not because he's not guilty, says Makoli. Ceci, Carol K. says, only Oscar Pistorius knows what happened that night. I wonder how he feels listening to other people's theories. Barney McGrew says, even if Oscar Pistorius wasn't an amputee, he would never dance again. Guilty feet ain't got no rhythm, says Barney. Yeah, just keep it coming. Keep it coming. We love to interact with you. We love your comments at SABC Newsroom. That's where we are on Twitter. Of course, on Facebook. Go to our Facebook page. There you'll find all the very latest. There it is, all the very latest on Oscar Pistorius. Also, Gauteng police destroyed a large arsenal of firearms in a bid to bring down crime levels here in Gauteng. We'll have all of that. Then there's also a strange story about 3 men who were nabbed after being caught transporting 4 dead goats in a hearse in Vryburg in the northwest. What for, we don't know. But all of that and more is available on our Facebook page. We're going to take a short commercial break. When we come back, we talk education in South Africa. This is Newsroom on SABC News.
Zoom into Africa. This is Malawi. The president is Her Excellency Joyce Banda. Malawi got independent from the United Kingdom on 6th of July in 1964. The population is more than 15 million people. One of Malawi's major languages is English. Monetary unit Malawi Kwacha.
Gaming enthusiasts, including us here at Network, indulged in over 80 exhibits that included the Xbox One and Nintendo. Visitors also got to try out PlayStation 4 computer entertainment system, which was unveiled at Rage 2013.
I just came here to see the Xbox One and the PS4, see which one I'd buy.
If you have close to 400,000 Rand to spare, then you can buy the new UHD TV set. Samsung has launched cheaper models, but cheaper doesn't necessarily mean cheap. South Africa has just received the country's first surgical robot, but the robot isn't quite taking over from your surgeon just yet.
That's Network, Sundays, 7:30 p.m. on SABC News.
Welcome back. You're still with Newsroom on SABC News. Now, the Ikuribeng region in the Gauteng Education Department and the New Leaders Foundation have created a sustainable, cost-effective and systemic way to improve learner outcomes by giving districts skills and support. The foundation's work is one of the most exciting and innovative projects in South African education. Their partnerships approach with government, the private sector and other NGOs, providing the leadership we require as a country for sorting out our education system. Today, we are joined by Jabulani Mabuza from the Gauteng Department of Education in the Chief Director's Office, and then Bongani Chabalala, a partner at the New Leaders Foundation. They're here to give us a little bit more. Now, Jabu, if I can start with you, just tell us how this partnership has come about.
We were approached by New Leaders Foundation, and they told us what they were doing, and in return we also indicated to them what the region has been doing, and we were focusing on the new approach as department of giving 80% support to school and 20% compliant. And then thereafter, we then consulted all the directors because our support in the department is based on, all our systems are based on supporting the teaching and learning. And we are making Classroom the unit of change. And that's how then we felt that the district support from new leaders would fit directly into our operations, because we had a framework that we were using to operate, because we are implementing the national and provincial mandate. And we were also we started to use this new approach of using the data to give focused support to schools. And after we've consulted with all the 5 directors in the region, we then felt that the new leaders will then complement what we were doing and to ensure that we accelerate the new approach that we were trying to implement as the...
Bongani, tell us about this new approach that you guys are pioneering. How does it work in theory, and what kind of outcomes are you looking at?
Great. Thank you for having us. From the New Leaders Foundation perspective, what we do is both training and coaching. So we then provide training for district officials in all of the 5 districts in Egudibeng. Together with that, we had an immersed consultant, a coach, immersed or seated at the district on a daily basis and supporting and providing the support to district officials. As Jab was saying, talking about the 80% support, we as New Leaders Foundation were that 80% support, providing support to the districts so that districts can then be able to take the support and provide it to schools.
How has it changed you, this training and support?
Look, I used to sleep very late, used to do things haphazardly, but after the new leaders came into the picture, they then try and coach us on how to do things in well in advance. I used to do presentations and collect data a day before, but after they came in, they just said to me, Jabu, you need to work smart 3 weeks before, so that if there are other challenges, you would be able to maneuver and change presentation and so on. But also was to say the way we talk to one another in the office. Sometimes we become ruthless. We don't mind the language that we were using, and those were the new skills that they actually gave to me. I'm now a smart person in terms of my work, and I'm proud of them.
You feel you're more professional now?
No, I was professional, but actually they've gave me the new lease of life into my work, because you see sometimes you tend to relax and do things your way, but now they've also said to me, this is the right way of doing things.
How has the response been to the new structures that you guys are implementing at district level and the sort of outcomes that you're hoping to achieve on the ground in schools?
Brilliant. It was beyond our imagination. When we started, we had to build relationships that took some time, but once that got on, we worked like a house on fire, and we started getting more platforms to even give feedback. People were more receptive to the training that we're giving, to the coaching. We were able to create coaching circles where district officials would sit together and share coaching skills. We're able to support district officials as they visited schools. So there was more openness, and we believe that as that goes, continues to go, and they support each other as district officials, that will impact schools directly, especially learner performance.
Now, I want to ask you about the province itself, the challenges that you face when it comes to improving education in the short and medium term here in the province.
Look, we do have challenges, But I think as department, we are on top of issues, and we are giving, schools and district support. And you would also know that we've got the intervention programs that we are implementing, and we are there for schools, we are there for district, and the 80% support starts from the head of the department down to the directors. So we are giving schools the support that they require from us, and that's what we are doing.
And what's the feedback from the schools then?
Look, the feedback is differently, because you would also understand that as we may sit in one meeting, but we would hear different things. While we are giving them support, others are still crying for the very same support that we are giving, and others are complaining that we are giving them too much support and we don't create space for them, to implement some of those things. So it's some kind of 50-50, because while others are appreciating, others are actually saying we need more support.
Yeah, as soon as you help people, there are more people that need help. That is the way it works, I suppose.
Sure.
But Bongani, I want to talk about the success of this program and what's the future view. Are we going to move it around the country where we improve the level of interaction at district level, so that sort of good leadership processes can then filter down to the rest of the education system? Where are we looking at developing it towards?
The good thing is that at national level, the Department of Education is implementing a district policy, and through the implementation thereof, we have partnered with the national office, and we are already there providing our program. It's called the District Service Support Program, and we are sitting with them to support provinces in terms of how provinces can support districts and district support schools. You see, the spotlight is moving away from the national office and the provincial office straight into districts and to the learner in the classroom. And yes, the rollout is on the way. The MOU has been signed. We are implementing.
And just in conclusion, just quickly run us through your methodology. The response is good, but tell us, what do you do? How do you skill? And what kind of skills do you share with the leaders within the education system?
That's varied. Let me place a few on the table. We provide them with skills around coaching methodology, different coaching skills that they can use. We deal with how they deal with resilience, for example. We talk about conflict management and skills to deal with conflict management. How do they show up in a supportive mode rather than in a compliance mode as they visit schools? And that's the training part. And we sit with officials on a one-on-one, in group, in teams. Even the training itself is a platform where we support district officials.
Final word belongs to you. What would you like to see happen with this program now?
I think this is a good program, and I think it will benefit, the schools and the learners in the classroom, because I think that is our main purpose, that the beneficiary of education should be the learners in the classroom, and not to take the center stage to the officials. And that is why in this new district model, we are taking service delivery closer to the clients, and our clients are school, and that is what we want to see.
Well, thank you for joining us this morning, gentlemen. Bongani Shabalala, who's from the New Leaders Foundation. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then Jabulani Mabuza from the Gauteng Department of Education. Thank you for joining us today.
Sure.
Turning education into a business, more professional. That's the gist of what they're trying to achieve, and it's going to be rolled out nationally by the looks of it. Very interesting indeed. Let's take a look at what you are talking about and thinking on social media. Dani van der Lith says, so the judgment of the Griquastad case will be this Thursday at 8:45. Case has come to an end. Let's see what Judge Khomo has to say. Terence says, Jacques Steenkamp, ooh yay, and yeah, I am following Oscar Pistorius falling asleep while Griquastad delivers so much more exciting news. Dagmar de Souza says, so torn at the moment between Griquastad case and Oscar trial. One thing is for sure, Judge Khomo much more involved than my lady Masipa. says Dagmar. Helmarie Stevenson says, wish we had live multimedia coverage of the Gekosstad trial. Would have loved to listen to Homer's judgment on Thursday morning. Well, those are some of your thoughts coming in on social media at the moment. Keep it coming. At SABC Newsroom on the red line, that's where you can send your comments and we'll put it up. Of course, we've got a great Facebook page where you can watch clips, you can watch videos, you can recap all the stories, all the top stories of the day. It's on Facebook. Also, SABC, there we go, /SABC Newsroom on Facebook. And that's where you get all the latest breaking stuff all of the time. After a short break, football meets fashion right here on Newsroom on SABC News.
Parliament pays tribute to two prominent members of Parliament who passed away recently.
Honourable Crosby Mani passed away on the 22nd of December 2013 after a short illness.
Honourable Mani always asked insightful questions.
He was a very respectful person. Whenever he referred to the President of the country, did he utter the word Mr. Zuma, he always referred to him Msholos.
A View from the House, weekdays at 2:30 on SABC News.
SABC News plays a critical role in providing unbiased and reliable news. We have a well-established reputation of uncovering, reporting and delivering news. A significant growth in popularity of our news demonstrates the demand for our news content. We continue to provide unrivaled coverage of vital events in and out of the country. Wherever the news is happening, we'll be there to bring them to you at the right time. No one has the news covered like SABC News. We lead and they follow. SABC News, Africa's news leader.
The household structure has changed drastically. Traditionally, orphans were absorbed by extended members of their family. But today, that safety net is no longer effective and children are left to fend for themselves.
When you look at Section 137 of the Children's Act, it has made provision that these children, after being recognized as child-headed household, need to be placed under an adult supervisor.
Join us again next week as we bring you stories of change makers, hope and courage.
SABC News. We report, contextualize and present news and current affairs honestly, fairly and fully. We consider it a duty to provide consistent, relevant, useful and top quality information and analysis. Our mission is to provide credible, accurate and interesting news programming, bringing news into everyone's homes in everyone's languages. Thank you, South Africa, for relying on SABC News for quality news output and for making us your #1 source of information. SABC News, Africa's news leader.
Yeah, welcome back. Still with Newsroom. Let's just take a quick look at the top stories right now. Oscar Pistorius will take to the stand in his trial. His defense team confirmed this as the state closed its case yesterday against the Paralympic athlete, this after 15 days in court. Prosecutor Gerry Nel led evidence this week about intimate text messages the Paralympian exchanged with Reeva Steenkamp that were attested to strife in their relationship before he shot her on Valentine's Day last year. Defense advocate Barry Roo is expected to call defense witnesses on Friday after a 2-day adjournment. The trial is set to conclude on May the 16th. President Jacob Zuma and his Rwandan counterpart, Paul Kagame, have agreed on direct talks to try and resolve the ongoing diplomatic row between the two countries. Relations are at an all-time low after South Africa expelled 4 Rwandan diplomats, and Rwanda in turn responded by sending 6 South African diplomats home. The simmering tensions were discussed at the Great Lakes Region Security Summit that took place in Luanda, Angola. And Sports Minister Fikile Mbalula issued a stern warning to sporting structures who do not comply with transformation requirements. Mbalula received the first transformation status report from the Eminent Persons Group in Johannesburg. The EPG was appointed to assist Mbalula in monitoring and evaluating the current transformation process in sport. The report deals with the status of 5 sporting codes, namely football, rugby, cricket, athletics and netball. Now, the worlds of fashion and sport are set to collide in the final rounds of the Nedbank Cup as 3 of the country's top fashion designers and 3 soccer superfans join forces. Now, today in studio, we are joined by the international fashion designer from South Africa, David Tlale. They're standing right over there, as you can see, as well as Kaizer Chiefs superfan, Alfred Baloyi. But before we get to them, I'm joined by Nkosinathi Msiza from Nedbank to tell us a little bit more about this campaign. Good morning. Thanks for joining us, Nkosinathi.
Thank you very much. It's great to be on your show, Eben.
Interesting mix, football and fashion. Just tell us about your thinking around this campaign.
So, Eben, Nedbank realizes that people don't get excited about going to the bank. People have dreams, they have aspirations. The young guy starting a job, trying to buy his first car, the old person who's preparing for retirement. Just as much, soccer fans have a passion for how they go to the stadiums.
Yeah.
But now, when you start combining 2 worlds, the world of fashion and the world of football, what can become out of that? So Nedbank said, how can we inspire South Africans to fulfill their dreams? They're super fans of this world. How can we see how we get their outfits to be better designed and to be in such a way that, you know, they're more commercially viable and they're more trendy with the times? And who better to do that with than the designers that we've called on board?
Top names. Who are all the designers that are involved in the campaign?
So we've got David Tlale, who's working with Ubabu Alfred Baloyi from Kaizer Chiefs.
Yeah.
We've got an Orlando Pirates superfan, Eugene Khoza, not the comedian, but a superfan for Orlando Pirates called Eugene Khoza. He is teamed up with Craig Jacob. And we've got the superfan Lizzie Mutseke from Sundowns. She is teamed up with Anisa Pungwe. So the 3 of them, I think, will give us some good variety from a talent, but also from an outfits point of view to see what we can come out of this.
And just tell us how you came up with the plan and the sort of goal behind it.
So the goal really is to inspire people to make their goals happen. The Nedbank Cup is a platform for Nedbank to connect with people about enabling goals. So we are saying to the super fans, we are saying to the South African community, as much as you love to get dressed up for the weekends, as much as you love to get dressed up for the fan, how would it be if you got together with famous designers that would give you outfits that are out of this world to see how the 2 worlds, when they collide, what is produced out of it. So really that is the inspiration behind it, enabling people to fulfill their dreams. And through this process, we're hoping that skills gets transferred and we can see how the 2 parties really yield more results for each other.
Well, thank you, Nkosinathi. Very interesting and some fantastic pictures. Of course, all these pictures will be on our Facebook page, so you can go have a look at how David and the like work with these. But Katrina, I think it's over to you to find out what that process has been like.
Yes, thank you, Eben. I'm very excited about it. And we are joined by David Tlale, international fashion designer, as well as Alfred Baloyi, who is the creator of the Makarapa and also a Kaizer Chiefs superfan. Guys, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you.
David, I would like to start with you. How and why did you get involved with this campaign?
I think more than anything else, it's like just bringing the brand closer to people and also saying fashion is not a totally detached industry from soccer, because fashion evolves around fantasy. You look at Alfred's outfit, it's pure fantasy, and like on a daily basis you could never be seen wearing that. So it's like when I was approached to be part of the campaign, it's been like really amazing, because in the true sense of it, it is couture, because it's made for a once-off entrance, and which is like in a soccer field this time.
Yes, we're calling it football fan couture.
Yes.
How are you planning on mixing sport and fashion? It's quite opposites.
It's not opposite. I mean, like, look at it. When I work with fabric, it's purely playing around and making the fabric work with me, or sometimes I work with it. So this time around, it's taking fashion into the soccer field and using better fabrics, using more glamorous finishings and trims, and making Ubabu Baloyi like really, really glamorous.
Alfred, you are the creator of the Makarapa. Can you tell us how you came up with the idea?
On 1970s, I was at the stadium. I saw somebody throw a bottle on someone's head. So I scared when I see the blood. I think about my makarapa. I took my makarapa to protect my head.
And how has it been working with David so far?
To work with David, I'm very proud. I'm proud to see the man like David. And then he will change me to wear the nice, I'll fly and touch the sky.
And tell us, do you still design and make makarapas?
Now I'm still designing. Like if you see,
from
the
Nedbank. Brilliant.
I'm still doing it.
David, it's all very loud and colorful. Are you planning on bringing those elements into your design?
I think definitely, because we're just going to go louder and bigger. Because I asked Alfred what does he want to do. He goes, when I walk into the stadium, I want to look like I'm flying. So we are definitely going to epitomize that, like loads of volume, loads of drama happening. All the attention must be just on him.
Brilliant. I want to focus a little bit on you. I know earlier this year you had your first solo runway show in New York.
Yeah.
And last year we celebrated the Tlale decade, right?
Yes.
What can we be expecting from you as designer for the 10 years to come?
Well, there's a lot that has been happening in the brand, David Tlale. I mean, on Friday we've just launched our intern by David Tlale at Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week Joburg, which has been like super phenomenal. I mean, I'm working with these 4 designers from KZN that I'm mentoring for a period of a year, and later to teach them skills of establishing a business and becoming a brand on a national stage, and also becoming a global brand ultimately. And we will be going to showcase back in New York in September for our spring-summer collections. And I mean, my focus right now is the internship program, because I really want to make sure that this project becomes a national project, not just for young designers from KZN. We want to come to Gauteng in all the provinces, so that we give Project Runway a run for their life, because I believe as South Africans we've got so much to give, and the talent is unleashed and it's untouched. So it's my responsibility to bring it forth and just make sure that it is showcased on international stages.
I saw a previous interview with you, and I remember you saying that through your brand, South Africa has such a beautiful story to tell.
Yeah.
Do you think campaigns like this is that way of telling that beautiful story?
It is. I mean, as a nation, we have so many different cultures, and we are so diverse in everything that we do. We are the only nation that has a vuvuzela. And I mean, during the World Cup, I mean, vuvuzela was an icon. And now we're getting to say soccer fashion couture is now a way to express. I mean, how diverse can you go? I mean,
yeah.
Any other team doesn't have this.
Yes, no, true. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. That was international fashion designer David Tlale, as well as Alfred Baloyi, the creator of the makarapa, as well as a Kaiser Chiefs, a super fan. Eben, back to you.
Yeah, thanks, Katrina. Fantastic interview there. I love the outfit. Although I'm a buccaneer myself, I won't hold it against you today. Let's take a final look at what you are saying on social media. ANZAC says a senior police officer says he's been told to take the blame for the Marikana shootings. Wow, that's rich. Karabo says Johannesburg is a true comrade. He's vehemently refused under duress to be held liable for SABC blunder. Nothing but the truth. Hashtag Marikana, it says, of course. It's coming to a head now. Mfanelo Koza says, in Kandlagate, an Oscar trial kept me too occupied. I even forgot about Marikana AMCU strike. Catching up. Any journalist with an update? Well, you can just go and surf the net or go to our Facebook page and you get all the latest, all of the time. Tu Wabatu says, lest we forget, Lieutenant Colonel drops a bombshell, says SABC wanted him to take the fall for the scene. 2 deaths, and he refused. Well, that, of course, all will be tested. The show has been live, and is broadcast live between 9 and 10 a.m. every weekday, with highlights rebroadcast at 2 in the afternoon, a complete rebroadcast 5 o'clock the next morning. We also stream live between 9 and 10 a.m. every weekday on YouTube, with the entire show available on our YouTube channel. You're watching SABC News. This is Newsroom. We love it in the morning.